everybody. This is the Unit 4 review sheet number 3 on equations. Okay, so for number 1 and also number 2, we have to find out if the given value of the variable is a solution to the equation or if it's not. So number 1, it says 5 minus a equals 5 if a is equal to 0. So to figure this one out, we want to take our little clue here and we want to substitute. So we're going to replace the variable a with the number 0 just to see if it works out. So let's see, it would now say 5 minus 0 equals 5. And we know that 5 minus 0 does, in fact, equal 5. So we can say yes. So answer for number 1 is A. Yes, this value a equals 0 would satisfy this equation. Okay, same idea on number 2. Again, just substitute. We're going to take that clue that we have. It says 0.8 plus k equals 10. And we want to see whether or not this is true. To do that, we're going to take our clue. So we're going to replace the letter or variable k with the number 0.2. And let's see, so it's now going to say 0.8 plus 0.2 equals 10. But unfortunately, this time it doesn't work out. I don't really have a lot of space, but I'll do it down here and erase it. Remember, line up your decimal points with each other. And 8 plus 2 is 10. Let's leave our decimal again, carry the 1. This actually only equals 1.0, which is 1. And obviously 1 is not equal to 10. So I'm going to put this little line through. This means not equal to. So this time, our answer is B. No, that k cannot be 0.2 because both sides are supposed to be equal to each other. So that is number 2. All right, let's look at number 3. So number 3 says Sharon had 42 photos on her phone. So let's just take some notes here. It says she had 42 photos, 42 pictures. After she deleted some, she had 23 left. So she deleted, oops, like I just did there, accidentally. But she deleted some, and she had 23 left. So we just have to figure out which equation could be used to represent this situation. So again, I don't have a lot of space. I'll just work on them down here for the time being. So she had 42. She got rid of some and had 23 left. But it can't be letter A, which says P minus 23 equals 42. And if I solve this one, add 23 to both sides, then that means that she started with 65 photos, but the question says Sharon had 42. So it's not letter A. So again, just going through our little process of elimination here. Let's try, I don't know, choice D. It says P plus 42 equals 23. Now we know this automatically can't be the answer because it says plus 42. No, it says Sharon had 42 to begin with. So this one also cannot be the correct answer. Let's take a look at choice C. C says P minus 42 equals 23. But again, if I solve this one, adding 42 to both sides, it's going to tell me that she started with 65 photos, but again, it says no, she started with 42. So none of those work out. But again, it's a good strategy just to go through your different choices, just to narrow it down. So this one actually should be choice B, which says P plus 23 equals 42. And if we solve this using inverse operation, subtract 23 on both sides, it's going to say P is equal to 19. So what this means is, just like it says in the question, she started with 42 photos. She got rid of some, and she had 23 left. So what we're looking for is just the amount that she deleted, which is actually 19. Okay, if you want to check it, we do P, which is 19, plus 23, and you're going to see we come back to the 42 she started with. So for number 3, our choice answer is letter B, which says the equation should be P plus 23 equals 42. Now I know word problems can be a little tricky for some of you, may not be a favorite, but we have to go through it carefully and just annotate, which means just take some notes on some key information, some important numbers, and just think through our problem that way. Okay, number 4. Number 4 is similar. 4 gives us a different situation, but we still have to find the equation to represent it. So number 4 says the Vikings scored 7 more points than the Ravens. So let's just take some notes. So Vikings are equal to whatever the Ravens had plus 7 points. And we know Vikings scored a total of 34 points. So we need to figure out which equation can represent the amount of points that the Ravens scored. Now, by looking at what we have here, we know that the Vikings, they won. They had 34 points, which is 7 more than the Ravens. Now, just be careful on something like this. It's very easy to look at some of the answers and be a little confused, but let's just go through them. So again, I'll work over here where I have some more space, and let's go through our choices. So letter A says P minus 7 equals 34. Well, without actually working this one out, which if you do, you're going to see it's going to be equal to 41, which is also incorrect. But even without working it out, you know that this has to be wrong because it says the Vikings scored 7 more than the Ravens, not 7 less than the Ravens. So it can't be letter A. Again, if you want to work it out, just to double check, again, you're going to see that, hey, the Vikings scored 41 points, but no, they actually didn't. They had 34. So that's not it. Or pardon me, the Ravens scored 41. So again, they couldn't have scored 41 because they lost. Let's try choice B. It says P minus 34 equals 7. So again, it doesn't say 34 less than, so we could get rid of that. But again, same idea. If you do want to solve it, you're going to get the Ravens scored 41 points, which again, not true because they lost. And Vikings had 34, which means they had less than 34. Okay, let's try choice D. So choice D, similar. But again, you know that can't be right because it's saying plus 34. So Ravens did not score 34 points more than the Vikings. And if you solve this one, which we haven't really gotten into yet officially, you're going to get a negative number. And in sports, or in football specifically, you cannot have a negative amount of points. So that doesn't work either. So by default, this leaves us with the correct answer being choice C, which says P plus 7 is equal to 34. If you look at it, it goes back to what we spoke about. It says the Vikings had 7 more than the Ravens. Remember, more we can think of as being adding. And if you want to double check, just to see if this works out, which it does, you're going to get P is equal to 27. This means the Ravens scored 27 points. And if you want to double check, they had 27. The Vikings had 7 more than them. So if we add 27 plus 7, we're going to get 34, which is the amount of points the Vikings did in fact score. So that is the correct answer for number 4. And it's choice C. So we can get rid of that and put in our answer. So our answer here for 4 was C. The equation should be P plus 7 equals 34. All right, let me just move these down a little bit, get a little bit more space for the upcoming problems. So I hope we're okay so far on the first few questions. So getting into numbers 5 and 6, the directions say for numbers 5 and 6, we have to write an equation for the word sentence. So number 5 says 7 less than, let me just take a little notes here. So 7 less than the number of pencils is equal to 15. So in your choices, a lot of them look similar. They all say something something equals 15, but they're all slightly different. So it can't be letter A, which says 7 plus P. The reason why it can't be the answer, it says less than, which means subtraction. So it can't be letter A. For that same reason, also can't be letter B, because letter B says P plus 7. Again, we're not adding 7, it says 7 less than. So automatically right off the bat, we know it can't be, it's actually number 5 I'm doing, not sure why I'm putting it for number 7, but it says 7 less than. All right, so again, it's not choice A or B because those are adding. So it's either choice C or choice D, and you just have to be careful. So remember what we spoke about lots of times. When a question says less than, that means that part has to go to the back of the problem, towards the end. So 7 less than means something minus 7. Okay, some of you still get confused. So it's not choice C. Choice C says 7 minus P equals 15. And what this part in the equation says is actually less than P. But that's not really what we want to put. We want to put 7 less than. So our answer for this one is actually going to be choice D, which says P minus 7 equals 15. And again, it makes sense if you think about the word problem. It says 7 less than the number of pencils is 15. So again, we have a number and we're subtracting 7 from that since it's less than and it equals 15. And if you want to solve that, which you don't have to, but again, it's good practice just to double check. If we add 7 on both sides, we're going to get P is equal to 22. And if we substitute it into our formula, 22 minus 7 does equal 15. So this works out. And that's our answer for number 5. Okay, number 6. Same idea. This time it says 12 times the number of tennis balls is 48. Now we know that the word times means to multiply. And for this one, it should be a lot easier. It can't be choice B, which is adding. It's not choice C, which is subtracting. It's not choice D, which says division. So this one is nice and easy, and it's only choice A, which says 12B equals 48. Remember a number, in this case 12, next to a variable. In this case B means to multiply, so that's why that is the correct answer. Okay, number 7. So the last few questions, we have equations that we actually have to solve for. So number 7, it says, let's just write this one down, n minus 5.1 equals 8.8, and we have to find the answer, the solution. So again, same steps we do to solve an equation, equal sign, draw the line. This is where we know the terms on the left side of the equation, such as the n and the negative 5.1, and separated from the term on the right side, which is the positive 8.8. Okay, after I draw my line, I look at the operation, or the sign I see, which is subtracting. So I do inverse operations, which means opposite. Opposite of subtracting is to add. And the reason why I'm adding 5.1 Again, my goal solving an equation is to get my variable all by itself on one side. So to get n by its side, I add 5.1, and whatever I do to one side of the equation, remember I have to balance it by doing the same exact thing to the other. Our 5.1s cancel since they're zero pair, meaning adding the same numbers with opposite signs. So I'm left with n by itself, which is what I want. Bring down our equal sign and adding from the back. 8 plus 1 is 9. Make sure you keep your decimal point. 8 plus 5 is 13. So our answer is n equals 13.9. Okay, number 8. Number 8 says we have to solve this equation. B over 3 equals 8. Same steps, even though you're looking at division, which we'll get to in a second, but equal sign, let's draw the line. Now what operation do we see? We're looking at division since it says b over 3, or in other words, b divided by 3. And we know to get rid of division, we use inverse operation of multiplication. So we multiply, and remember, we've done lots of these problems. To get rid of a fraction, you multiply by the reciprocal, which means you take the fraction you have and you turn it upside down. Now remember, when a variable is by itself, in this case it says b, remember it has an invisible number 1 in front. Make sure you put that 1. So the reciprocal now of this fraction, 1 over 3, is actually going to be 3 over 1. Remember, whatever we do to one side, we do the same exact thing to the other side. So also multiply that by 3 over 1. And last but not least, we see the whole number is 8. Let's make it a fraction, put it over 1. Now we're ready to solve. So our 3's will cancel because 3 divided by 3 is 1, and 1. And the 1's cancel because 1 divided by 1 is also 1, 1 and 1. So again, the whole point in multiplying by the reciprocal is to get rid of that fraction and to get our variable by itself. So now it is, bring down the b, bring down our equal sign, multiply our numerators. 8 times 3 is 24, over, multiply denominators. 1 times 1 is 1. So we can simply say b is equal to 24. Okay, number 9. So number 9, we have a word problem, and then we have to solve the equation. So there are 9 raisin bagels in a bin, and this amount is actually only 3/8 of all of the bagels that are in the bin. So it gives us this equation to solve, to figure out the total number of bagels. So it says 3 over 8, b equals 9. Okay, same idea as number 8, same steps, equal sign, let's draw a line. Next, what operation are we looking at? Well, we see it's division, since it says 3 over 8, or in other words, 3 divided by 8. So again, we get rid of division by using inverse operation of multiplication. So multiply, and again, to get rid of that fraction, multiply by the reciprocal. So instead of 3 over 8, it's 8 over 3. Now we're going to balance the equation. Whatever we do on one side, do the same exact thing to the other. Multiply that also by 8 over 3. Last but not least, we're looking at the whole number 9. So we make that a fraction also. Put it over 1. Remember, it doesn't change the value. 9 divided by 1 is still 9. That's why we make the denominator 1. Okay, now we're ready to solve. So again, same concept. We can just cross cancel. 8 divided by itself. 8 is also 1 and 1. Same idea. 3 divided by 3 is 1 and 1. Again, we don't need to bring down the 1's, but we do need to bring down our variable b. So it's going to say b equals. Now let's multiply our numerators. 9 times 8 is 72 over. Multiply denominators. 1 times 3 is 3. And last but not least, we simplify this fraction. 72 divided by 3. Again, you can use long division or calculator, but it is going to be b is equal to also 24. Little coincidence there with numbers 8 and 9 having the same variable b and the same answer, but that's the answer for number 9 as well. Okay, last but not least, we have number 10, and in number 10, another word problem with an equation. So it says, in Rachel's reading class, 8 students chose mystery as their favorite type of book. This amount represents 2/5 of the entire class. So some students chose mystery books, but not everybody. So we need to figure out the total number of students in the class by solving this equation. It says 2/5 S is equal to 8. Okay, I don't have a lot of space, so let's see what I can do here. Same steps, equal sign, draw the line. And same idea. We have 2/5 S, which is technically multiplying, but again, we can also see that we're looking at division as well because it says 2/5. So if I'm reading this as a division problem, I can get rid of it by using, again, the inverse operation. So opposite of dividing is to multiply. I know to get rid of the fraction, I must multiply by the reciprocal again. So instead of 2/5, I multiply by 5/2. And whatever I do on one side of the equation, I balance it by doing the same exact thing to the other. So also multiply that by 5/2. And before I start solving, I know that I'm looking at a whole number 8. So I make that a fraction also, put it over 1. Now it's all set up and I'm ready to solve. So on the left side, my 5's will cancel, since 5 divided by 5 is 1 and 1. 2's cancel, since 2 divided by 2 is also 1 and 1. Now I have my variable s, bring that down, bring down my equal sign. Now multiply my numerators, 8 times 5 is 40. Multiply denominators, 1 times 2 is 2. And I simplify this, 40 divided by 2. Again, use long division or calculator, but it will tell you s is equal to 20. So there are 20 students in the class. Oops, sorry about that. Okay, so that is it for our review sheet. Make sure you rewind it. If you had any questions, let me know. And hope to catch you on the next one. See you later.